Hello, I'm Cormac. You're listening to Queerly Beloved, supported by Amazon Music. In this series, I invite DJs and musicians, friends and allies from the LGBTQ community to talk about music, queerness, and anything else that shaped their unique story. My guest today is Baby Morocco. He's a singer, a producer, and maybe most importantly, a performance artist. I first heard of him back in 2013 when, as an art school project, he announced to the press that he would be publicly losing his virginity. Now, that tells you something about how he likes to play with shock value and play with the media. He really is quite the provocateur. As a musician, he put out his debut release in 2023, and his latest album, Amour, came out at the end of 2024. I highly recommend checking that out. Also, his videos are great. You can, of course, find them on YouTube. You can find a playlist for all the music mentioned in today's episode and every episode at the link in the episode description. So please enjoy my conversation with Baby Morocco. So I always begin these chats by asking you who you are, how you identify, and what it is you do.
My name is Baby Morocco, aka Rocco, currently John Paul for a little bit. I identify as just doing my thing a little bit. In terms of sexuality, I don't know, just playing the game. That's what I identify as. And what's the last one?
What it is you do.
Oh, musician. Well, right now, recording artist, currently.
But you have an art, kind of a general art background or history.
Yes. Yeah, so that's why I kind of say currently. Currently where I'm at right now is I'm playing a performing artist, like as recording artist. That's my character right now. And then maybe in like a year I'll be like a writer of novels.
That's so fascinating. Do you feel attracted to lots of different media and methods of art? Do you feel kind of drawn in different directions, or?
Well, you know what I realized the other day, that with, just in general, the media that we always consume is just storytelling in general. So like film, gossip, music, TV is all storytelling. So I think when I was younger, I used to want to be a writer. So the constant theme for me is writing. In terms of creation, I love writing. So writing songs, writing books, TV, all of that. I've tried to do all kind of bits of that. And so, yeah, I think I'm, really interested in the idea of creating through writing, and then performance being like a secondary thing of that.
Yeah, we will have to talk about your performance art and the scandals you were creating. Is it nearly 10 years ago already?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
So for the listener who doesn't know, you were at St. Martin's, Central St. Martin's in London, and you caused a bit of a scandal by... Was it kind of like in the run-up to your show, or like what happens in St. Martin's? Do you have to kind of like say what your final show is going to be, or what?
So this is a common misconception that my not that it's like a huge one, but that was not my final piece. It was my beginning. I was just going to do it, and I just said I was doing something crazy in second year. It was the beginning of second year, and I was like, look, I had this concept, and I was reading a lot about Sophie Calle and like documentation art at the time, which was to do with like just kind of 70s, 80s performance art. I was like, how do I get the most attention in terms of with this concept? Because I was like, my main thing was actually not the concept itself, but like the media around it. I was always really interested in how the media works in terms of like creating headlines and taglines, because I don't come up with obviously any of the headlines, they come up with them. So I just said, I called this website called SWNS, which is Sell Your Story. And I was like, I'm 19, I'm gonna do this as a performance piece. And then the whole documentation was like, my whole piece was just a documentation from the media. It went everywhere, it went crazy.
I think that's fucking great. I mean, it says so much because it kind of almost lets them do the work in a way. It's like
100%. That was the whole point. That's even now. Even now, you see the common theme of even with how I'm addressed as a musician and my sexuality and stuff is all alongside. People will take obviously stuff, but it was kind of more interesting back then, just because social media wasn't as crazy as it is now. So it was really relying heavily on that kind of classic press, especially like, you know, tabloids and all of that stuff and the way they worded things. It was really physical rather than digital, even though it still was online, but it was literally physically in press. And so I was kind of like obsessed with the whole news and print aspects of it.
In a way, I think like the space between reality and how the media covers things is more narrow than ever. It's almost like people don't question what's in the media anymore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the language has changed. Like I was quite interested when I was like reading stuff about that time and that kind of media furore around what you were doing, about how much emphasis there was on, losing your gay virginity
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to losing your virginity. And it was almost like, because I've seen pieces or read stuff about when a young female wants to sell her virginity, for example, and it becomes this huge thing. But a guy selling his straight virginity, I think, would be less of a focus. And it was really interesting for me that they I'm talking in really binary terms, which is rubbish anyway, but it was really interesting for me that they kept focusing on like gay virginity. It was like, they were quite obsessed with it.
I think you say focusing on binary terms, but to be fair, that's you have to talk about them in that specific case because that's what it was to everyone. You know what I mean? It was it kind of, you can't get away from that concept when it was with the press. But it definitely, I mean, there was definitely a certain amount of like inertia and like less, like, I don't know, kind of nonchalance about it at the time, because I think there was this craving to be scandalous, which I think at art school is like a very, you're all trying to be the craziest. I remember there was this boy who was like a mature student at Central St. Martin's, and I just want to shout out like a big, can I swear on this?
Please.
Oh, well, fuck him, because he's a dickhead. And he basically dragged me in this blog about my piece because obviously a little bit jealous. Next week he burns like £200 in cash, like physical cash, because he's trying to, and I'm like, you did nothing with that. Sorry, but anyway, that was like, it was so like that uni, that was what Central St. Martin's was like though. For me, art school is everyone was trying to like out scandal each other in a certain way, which I thought was quite entertaining. It was kind of like going to like a school for publicity stunts.
Were you born in London?
No, I was actually born like in Morocco in Casablanca, and then moved to Bournemouth.
Casablanca sounds well more fancy than Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, you know what though? I will die on this hill. Bournemouth is the sexiest place in the world.
It's just Casablanca to me as an Irish guy. I'm like, wow, that sounds like Monaco or something.
Yeah,
like that, really.
No, it is. It's nice, but I definitely didn't. I don't culturally like. I'm 100%. And this isn't to do with anything. Like I would love to know more of my Moroccan heritage, but culturally, I'm very British. I would say, just from like growing up in Bournemouth. Like I moved so early, and then just my kind of formative years was growing up as someone in Bournemouth.
Such an interesting, heritage and culture, and it's funny because I never really focused on my nationality or my heritage, because when I was growing up, like, I just found everything a bit homophobic and uncomfortable. So I was just looking to get away from it. But as I get older, I start to realize that I'm actually, in many ways, very Irish. It's kind of weird, but I just wasn't in touch with it before. It's quite
yeah. I feel like that makes sense though. I was kind of the same. I think for a while I really hated, like, I like Bournemouth now, and I do really realize that I had a lot of like really good experiences there. But when I was younger, I just wanted to get out, because I would go to London, and I would love it. You know what I mean? I would love the way it made me feel and the people I would meet. I really liked the girls I was meeting. I met all these posh girls who like were on it with partying. Like they were like 14, 15, and they would take me out to these crazy parties. And that's kind of like, but I think also in Bournemouth, I was an emo. So a lot of my like music taste, and I would go to these raves that were like under 18s in Bournemouth. So there was kind of like the best of both. But at the time, I just really wanted to move to London. I think just because, the grass is greener kind of vibe. But yeah, I agree with you about the identity thing though, for sure. I do also work. I love Irish people. I always work with them in music. They're some of the best producers, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, literally. Last 3 people I've worked with have been Irish.
I really like that Rocco track on your album.
Thank you. It's a little braggy, swaggy track.
And your new video, who does your videos? They're great.
Well, there's all there's three different people. So Charlie Chops on Instagram did my Body Organic Disco Electronic. Iris Luz, who I work with a lot, she shot the artwork for the album and more. She's fucking amazing. She did Bikinis and Trackies, and then this guy called Anam did Babe Station.
And the one that came out 9 days ago, that's the
Body
one,
Organic.
Yeah. It's given some Katy Perry army vibes as well. I was like feeling that
so
about
funny.
it.
That's so funny. I sent it to the director. I was like, "What's that song again? Is it the part of me?"
Oh yeah, part of me.
Yeah. But it wasn't.
I was like, he's really tapped into the Katy Perry shade of the moment.
No. I fuck with Katy Perry. You know what? I've seen her twice in concert, and back in the day, like first and second album, and I love on her first tour she brought Yell on, and I was so young. Yell, the French electro group, and I loved them ever since. So I have a very soft spot in my life, in my heart, for Katy Perry, and I love that album, One of the Boys. I think it's a great album.
She gets a lot of flack, doesn't she? At the moment?
Does. I think she does. I think. Yes, I'm not even going to really comment on that, but I do think, because it's such a bigger situation, but I do think in terms of, she's always got flack even before. I do really think she is like a worthwhile pop star, though, for sure. Like I think she cemented herself as someone who is I'm a pop theologist, and I love her. I think she's a big staple in pop music.
What's your theology around Charlie and Brat?
I think Charlie XCX honestly is one of the best songwriters. I love it. I love her songwriting. The marketing thing for Brat was really genius. I don't even know really how it picked up, but it really just, it kind of is amazing. I always think I rate her a lot for seemingly like, and I mean, a lot of it is her just like doing whatever she wants. I just rate her as an artist. Yeah, that's it. I think she's really clever with it. And I
100%.
think, again, she is also just like someone I think I've been a fan of since I was like young. So I kind of like seeing that she's getting kind of her flowers, even though it wouldn't have mattered either way, because I think she stands the test of time. But it's cool to see her get mainstream success.
Those moments, I don't know how designed they can be. I think you can work hard and try your best to have things in position, but like that, with the music she was making, with the content of the music, with the lyrics, and then, you know, with the imagery and the way she was tapping into I mean, it's fucking genius. It's so nice to see.
It is. I think as well, some of the strongest tracks, I really love that one that's called I Think About It All the Time, about her having a baby. Like, I think in terms of like it being like electronic music and super sensitive as well, I love that I'm really a big fan of that combination. Always have been.
What age were you when you moved to the UK?
Like young, I was like 0.5 or 1 or 2. I don't remember. Something really like mini.
So like in terms of music that you would have been surrounded by growing up in Bournemouth, let's say, was there Moroccan influence to it, or was it more UK, or was it a mix, or what was being played in the house?
When I was younger, well, actually, a lot of Fleetwood Mac, like really a lot of Fleetwood Mac, and my mum would play some Moroccan music where it would kind of be that kind of tinny, wiry, like, which I kind of met, I fuck with, but I really liked. I don't know. I think even with Fleetwood Mac, their melodies, I love pop melodies. I love like a beautiful chorus, and I love like a beautiful bridge, a middle eight, like, you know what I mean, like a change up. And I think I really love Fleetwood Mac's Tango in the Night. That album is one of the albums that honestly changed my life. Like it's one of, like, since a kid, since being a baby. But then when I got older, it was like, but what was being played in the house for me was like, you know what? One of the first music videos I ever watched was Britney Spears' "Hit Me Baby One More Time" on my old big fat TV. But then the second one, when my dad got plasma TV, was Britney Spears' "Piece of Me." So it was always like yeah, which is another album which rocked my world. But yeah, I think it was a lot of my dad's music. My dad liked those kind of like Simply Red. Do you remember Simply Red?
Simply Red. Yeah. Would no. Yes.
Very classic, like dad rock, I think.
Oh god, it's so dad rock. But you know what? There's a lot of brilliance in I mean, Fleetwood Mac and Tango in the Night. Fuck. I mean, my parents used to play that in the car when we would be like going on road trips and stuff, and just the the sonicness of that album is so rich, and like
It's
Lindsey Buck,
beautiful.
like looking out for love,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
so
yeah,
good. Like it's so there's so many bangers on there. It's brilliant. And
yeah.
I mean, everyone talks about Rumors as their big
No,
album, which is
Tango in the Night.
incredible as well.
Tango in the
But
Night.
Tango in the Night also gets a bit more like you can kind of tell like they're using certain synthesizers and stuff on it, which wasn't really
Exactly.
happening in Rumors. It gets a bit more electronic and 80s or something.
100%. That's why I love it. And also I love that again, kind of like weirdly, like not even to compare it to the Charlie track, but like to compare it to like when she did that. I think about it all the time. Then Stevie Nicks has on the end of Tango on the Night, which is When I See You Again. It's that kind of like ending vulnerable track. And that's kind of what I did with my album as well. No Cameo is like the vulnerable, the kind of sad. It's still a bit bravado, like being like, I don't care, but it's about the ending of a friendship. So I think in my head, I've always been like, pop album needs a good and sad kind of ending, thoughtful closing track.
Oh, the Redemption track.
Yeah, exactly.
And also Britney. It's really mad for me, like that the amount of music videos and shit that came before Hit Me One More Time. But then there are certain music videos that are just such social commentary. They're so like, they're landmarks within the turning of culture. And if that was like the first one you remember, like that is a massive one.
I remember watching Khalees and Richard X. There was a song called
it was Oh Baby, You're the Finest, the finest I've seen.
What's it called
It's
again?
so good.
Yeah.
It's on his Richard X Presents. Is it called Finest Dreams or something?
Yeah, something like that. That was one of the first videos, and that like I loved the video. Is so sick. It's got all these 2D characters, and that Mutia song for Mutia with Groove Armada. I love that video with her in the festival.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I really remember making a big effect on me. Like it was just kind of like this is when I was kind of coming into my own a bit more.
Well, I want to ask you, like, your mum was playing some Moroccan music, your dad was playing Fleetwood Mac. I'm trying to ask you to pick some music that kind of reminds you of growing up, or the music you were listening to when you were growing up.
Well, super early years, yeah, Fleetwood Mac, Britney. There was like some kind of like at early like T2, Heartbroken, like some of that kind of garage bassliney stuff as well. I really loved. I mean, that was all at my school, and then I turned into a scene kid, so it was like The Millionaires, Blood on the Dance Floor, like Hollywood Undead, Jeffree Star when he was making music back in the day, and then Soldier Boy. There was just so much. I loved Soldier Boy.
It's great. It's quite a spectrum. I'm going to ask you, because you mentioned Jeffree Star, and I don't know if that will be relevant to the next question, but I ask everyone kind of about their queer awakening, if you like, because very often, we may not have queer people in the house, or we might sometimes. Sometimes you might have queer siblings or queer relatives. But for me, my kind of first connection to queerness or otherness or difference was kind of through music. So I'm always interested to know, like, was there an artist or a song or a track that maybe opened your mind in that direction, or that you felt a kindred with, or maybe just also it could be someone that's not in any way queer, but it was the music you were thinking about or experiencing when you were dealing with that stuff? Or
It was interesting. I think Jeffree Star was obviously the first person I ever saw kind of like doing that swag. I mean, like, I don't even know what Jeffree Star really identifies as, but that I don't think they've ever really said. But
I think a Republican.
yeah, now. Yeah. So there was this
plot twist.
Yeah. There was this person at my school who dressed like Jeffree Star, though, would like do all this crazy midnight blue hair, like swish, and then like foundation. And but like music wise, it's gonna be a suck as an answer, because obviously it was essentially queer baiting. What I've been accused of is Panic at the Disco, who were like they were like doing the fake bisexual kind of stuff, which I really loved, because I loved Brendan Urie and Ryan Ross, who was they were both the leads of Panic at the Disco. That was kind of because I was in love with them. Like I'm telling you, I was Panic at the Disco. They were my world. I'm not kidding you. They were like actually.
Yeah, no, it's really,
They were
really
like.
cute.
Yeah.
But you get accused of the queer baiting stuff, but are you queer baiting? Are you leaving that for mystery?
Well, I'm just gonna let people call me it now because I said, I mean, I was pretty clear. Like I've done like literal interviews where I've said what my experiences are with my sexuality, and I don't think you can really queer bait if you really be fucking
Yeah.
people who are the same sex. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
I really loved, there was something I read from you where you kind of said, well, I mean, I'm kind of re-saying it, and it sounds really basic in my head, but to say that like labels are limiting, but it's like this idea of like the need to label everything. And I think that's really interesting because I always felt like that. And then more recently, like say in the last 10 years, when things have become more constrained for queer people, I've like actually the more visibility we have around queer stuff, the better. So that
Mm.
might need a label. But then as well, the other flip side of that is like, when do we get to the point where it's less needed or not needed, and we're talking more, a bit like your art project, for example, a bit like, when are we talking about the fact that it's like a sex thing rather than a gay sex thing? Or
I just think as well with label, I don't know. My thing is that I'm here on this like earth. I know it's to make it like this, but I'm here for a very short time. To me, I really don't want to just. I just like living my life. I think the idea of whenever I've tried to label myself has come with so much vitriol from both communities, gay, straight, whatever. I don't need to be doing it for anyone. You know what I mean? I think I've I've put myself in places where there's always going to be like a conversation around my sexuality or around what I do, and even when I've tried to be super clear with that, there's always pushback. So I think for me, I'm taking a step back from that now a little bit because I just think it will get worse and worse as my music, if it grows and grows, it will just become more and more daunting to talk about stuff. So I think there's a limit, I think, of what I now will share. And I mean, I think also the reason is people come up with these theories about my sexuality is because I'm so closed about, and I never talk about who I'm dating. I never post them. I never, there's no, with the Baby Morocco thing, there's only so much I want to share.
I think that's really fair enough, and I don't think there should be any onus on you to say these things. And I also, it's very 80s.
Mm,
It's like very 80s just to like, I mean, you have said, but that's different. But like just to leave mystery around these things, and I think mysteries. I don't want to like overplay it, but I think mystery's really lacking these days, and everybody kind of declares everything and shows everything, and you see pictures of Lady Gaga going to Walmart, and
mm.
like it's like on one level there's like this really lovely like relatability to that, but a bit of mystery and projection is very good for nurturing delusion as a kid. And I think delusion as a kid is very important, like fantasy, like
Yeah.
dreaming about something.
Lying also is so fun. If you can be in a space and lie, why not? Because also music is like a character. I think everyone, all of us in music, even people that my peers, we're all like, we know each other in real life. And then when we go on stage and we do a show, we're these characters. That's the whole point. You want that. People want that,
Mm.
People like to stay within kind of this dream world, which I think is sexier than real life. And especially now, things are sexier when they're not real.
Yeah, and also things are maybe sexier when they're more fluid, if you like. And
Mm,
I maybe come from the end of a generation where defining yourself in terms of sexuality was very important, maybe because of the the difficulty you face growing up, and things were a bit more binary in terms of like definition. And I've had friends, who identified as gay and then ended up sleeping with women, for example,
mm.
and got a lot of criticism for other gay guys. And I'm just like, well, why would that
Why would
be?
that be? Yeah. See, that's my problem.
Yeah, why would that be a criticism? And like, and those same people, if a so-called straight person had sex with a gay guy, they'd be all up for it. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. Like, these things are fluid. You have to let people do their thing, and also without labels as well. Like, it's nice to have the freedom to self-define in the moment and change, or you
Totally.
just leave it open. Yeah.
Yeah, there was this boy that I know in LA who's always been gay. And then for like 3 months, he wasn't gay. He was like with a girl. And then he went back after to dating boys, but it just happened. And that was a little beautiful moment. And I think sexuality is way more of like fun thing rather than it has to be so serious. I know what you mean though about like things having to be labeled when things get a bit more like horrible and that dire, because you kind of need that representation there. But I think as well, just on a personal experience of like life and experiencing life as you want it, I do think as well that all of the rules of any kind of sexual, like I don't think sexuality should be the leading, like the way that you just lead your life constantly. I think it should be like a part of who you are. I just think that there's almost like people make rules for themselves where there doesn't need to be rules. It can just it can be like with everything, things can be a lot more fun. But I also understand when things get serious. I'm not commenting saying that they shouldn't get serious. I'm just saying like,
No. It's all fair. So, God, well, that was really interesting. Did we choose a track? I'm not sure actually. We
oh
kind of went off on one there.
yeah, I did a bunch of tracks. I forgot. Yeah, should I choose one?
Well, you can choose one. Yeah, let's choose one.
So for this is for growing up. The main one I would probably say is the Richard X and Khalees one, and that reminds me of growing up as well.
I'm really happy to put that on the playlist. So I want to talk about community, like finding your peeps, basically. And it could be, we'll talk about music around it. But for many of my guests, that has come through music, whether that be like early clubbing days or making music in a bedroom with someone, or, well, firstly, I want to ask you about like finding your tribe.
Yeah. I mean, that was really, really when I would say the first time I ever felt like I was around people that I liked, especially growing up, was when I was doing Sea Scouts, which is a funny tribe. That's not the tribe though. So I started off at Sea Scouts and they let girls in. And then when the girls came in, they were all emos, like I was saying, like all side fringes, all like that up to the arm, like but it was like scene kids, so it was like stripy hair and stuff like that. And then I started hanging out with them in the town center, and we used to call our group Cyanide Scene. We used to have like a page on Bebo for it, and we would all dress in like these like colorful skinnies and drain pipes, all of that stuff. And then that was that kind of group of people. We all listened to the same music. We all, it was very much like a culture of like electronic music, doing like getting paralytic in the park, meaning like drinking at 11 a.m. like out of like a one of those bottles from Lidl, like K cider or some stuff like that. We used to get a guy from like the Big Issue and we'd give him money. Obviously, kind of crazy to do that. Like, and then he would go in, grab us all the alcohol. We'd sit in the park and just yam it all back by like 2 p.m. listening to music of someone's like Sony Ericsson, like tinny as fuck. But yeah, that was that was my tribe. That was it. And also quite open sexually, quite a lot of like firsts, like everyone is getting with everyone. But that's kind of normal when you're that age, I think. But that was like all of that music was like, scene kid music from back then.
I was just thinking, like, when I have these discussions and I chat with people from all different ages and times of music and also from different genres and inspirations, cider is like intergenerational magic. It's like everybody in their early days got hammed on on cider. It's just never changed.
But my thing, everyone liked cider, right? My thing wasn't cider. My thing was get the cheapest bottle of white wine. I loved that. That was mine. And put it in a yogurt bottle, like clean the yogurt bottle out with water so you wouldn't see there was wine in it or alcohol.
Like a yop.
Exactly. Literally. Because they're opaque. You can't see through them. So you just...
Yogurty wine.
And it went down a treat.
So was this pre-clubbing then? Is this kind of more early teens then?
Yeah, we're about to go clubbing. Like this is about to go clubbing because we were also going to this place called... this youth center called The Junction, which would be like open till like 7 p.m, but we'd make it like a club. And then we'd still go to like concerts. So there was this like guy who came to Bournemouth called Henry Homesweet, who I've actually now connected with. But he used to make chiptune music on his Game Boy, like, and play it from the stage. Had this huge hair like that. We'd all be like raving at the front. And there was these massive parties. I don't know if anyone remembers these. They're called Baby Cake. They were called Baby Cakes, and they were run by this brand called Baby Cakes, and they would have like Henry Homesweet play in London, all under 18s, slightly weird. Like there'd be like 12-year-olds, like drink 12. Like I was like 13. Like you drink the alcohol before you go in, and you'd be like dancing with like 21-year-olds who were also singing. It was really weird.
God, that's so mental. It's brilliant though.
Yeah,
it's brilliant because I was just sitting in parks and graveyards drinking.
Yeah, it was same. but we also mixed it up when there was like under 18 events for sure. Yeah.
Can you choose a track from then?
Yeah, I mean, probably anything from the Millionaires was 100%. I mean, they were ahead of their time. And I heard there was like a lot of controversy because their sound was taken for another artist by Dr. Luke, who was going to sign the Millionaires. But there's probably, I would
Ah.
say, what's that? My favorite song, just got paid. Let's get laid. Yeah, no, Millionaires. That they have this. They're just so good. What was that one? Hey, hey, rich boy, microphone, alcohol. All their songs sound very like my track titles.
It's really fascinating because it can kind of piece together where Baby Morocco kind of like it's just interesting to see the influences. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what age were you then where you were like, I want to make music?
You know what? So when I was listening to this music, because there was a lot of this type of stuff I'm telling you about, there was this DAW, which is, you know, the music making program, obviously. They're called Cubase. We had on our computers at school. And I was 14 and I made this song called Toffee, literally that went like TOFFE, Toffee, Toffee, Toffee. It was so shit. And it had this like really weird like synth that was like, like just underneath it. And that was when I was like, yeah, I could do this. I can make music. And then everything got, after that kind of era, everything got a bit more like acousticy and indie. And so I was like, oh no, I can't make music because this synthy, weird electro shit is not in. So I just forgot about it. I mean, I always wanted to make music. I can't really produce. So I was waiting for someone who would come along because I could write it, but I was just waiting for someone to come along who could produce it. And in 2022, there was this producer that I used to work with. And that's how like it came about, like where I was like really like, oh, I can actually do this. Like this can be crazy. But it took me a long time. It took a long, long time to like really get back into wanting to make it.
You know, when you made Toffee, what was the feeling when you were like, I've made a track?
I was so good. I was like, oh, this could go crazy. I was like, this is so what I would want to listen to. That kind of vibe. A lot of the music is music that I would want to listen to. That's the thing. Like the music I make is kind of the stuff that I wish I was hearing. So I make it and then I can hear it.
With your performance head on, and I guess that never leaves you.
Yeah.
What would your live performance be at the moment?
I just I sold out my show in London like in February, which is sick. So 2 months away.
Amazing. That's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's it's my proper headline, I would say, because this is like I announced it with no support. Like I didn't, you know, like in my last shows, I've had to like really convince people. You know, you're like trying to convince people to come a bit, but like this one, tickets sold so quick. So I was just like, it feels so exciting. My shows are also I'm way more of a performer than anything else. I love the writing aspect and then the performing aspect. I love being on stage. I'm very rambunctious. I like talking to the audience. We have a good time. I like to have sex with the audience through performance. So it's like this whole sexy discharge of a show.
Yeah, I like that sometimes. I think the other day I was chatting with a friend and I was like, oh, this is like intellectual sex. Like the chat we were having, it was like sex for the heart or something.
That's
I mean,
what
good
my
sex
shows
should
are.
be.
That's that's literally what I'll put on my poster for the
Put it on the
announcement of support.
poster. Yeah, that's it. Sex for the heart.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, good sex should be sex for the heart anyway, shouldn't it?
No,
Well,
not always.
Sometimes you just want some nastiness, to be fair.
Actually, that tags onto my song "Nasty" by Baby Morocco.
There you go. You see, you see. When was your first ever show?
2022, and the first show I think it was in New York. I didn't get booked in the UK for ages. Like I was actually the first few shows I did. One was in New York, France, and then Italy.
What was your first show in New York like? Was it a natural thing? Did you feel like, okay,
terrible.
this is where I'm supposed to be?
Absolutely terrible. It was.
Tell me everything.
Just awful. Like I was performing off. My laptop had auto tune on it, so they connected the mic to the sound, the laptop to the sound card to the mic. It was just terrible auto tune. It was Logic. It was like the Logic stock plugin, but live is not. That's laggy as hell. The crowd did not see me as an artist at that time, which I see. I understand. It just wasn't good. It wasn't a fun show, and it was just kind of terrible. You know what I mean? But it was good experience to do a show. So yeah.
I think those moments will either scare you the fuck away from it or just be like, okay, I feel the burn
Yeah,
and I'm
I
going to
just wanted
keep
to do.
going.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst show in terms of like the thing is with me. My main thing is if like the audience is like being crap, like being shit, like because I'm very crowd interactive. So if like the audience aren't feeding back off me, I really feel that. I'm not someone who stands on stage and just like being mysterious. I'm very participatory. I'm
You're
singing to
not
you.
Lana Del Rey.
No, and I love Lana Del Rey, but
I love her too.
that works for her. You know, with like this kind of party music, you want to feel engaged. Otherwise, you're like going crazy, and everyone's looking at you like a twat. So, there's been shows where I've walked off stage. I'm a little bit with performing. I'm a little bit of a diva when it comes to like a bad show. Like if your audience, if you've done it, if you've booked a venue like a festival and the audience is not giving me what I need to be given, then I'm going. I'm going after 4 songs, and my booking agent gets so annoyed at me because always like, which one we're going to cut the fee, and I'm like, but I gave you 4 good songs.
I mean, in a way, you can't really be responsible for how someone receives something. Someone could say, "Oh, that gig was shit," and it's because a week
Yeah, it's
before
true.
someone dumped them, and like they're having trouble with something else, and it's like transferred
Yeah,
shite. But I mean, when you have 3-minute tracks or so, you do have this ability to just like transport somebody into your moment,
yeah.
and then that can be very powerful when you take them out of themselves.
Yeah,
That can be
yeah, that's
very.
what I like to do. But yeah, that show was whatever. But I've done a load of amazing shows now. There was one show, I don't know if you can see, where I got stabbed in New York. This is extended. It's extended my lifeline, but I'll send you the picture after. But that was crazy. That was a terrible show. I had to leave after 6 songs because I was bleeding so much. But
Someone stabbed you while you were on
yeah,
stage?
I don't know with what, if it was like a broken bottle or something, but it wasn't like me falling on glass because if you fell on glass, it would have been like all over. It was like one big gash in my hand just above here, like from like it was like to here, yeah. So that was crazy.
I mean, that's like literally like blood sacrifice for your art.
I called myself the Electro Jesus.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Stigmata.
That people kept
Love it.
saying that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is you have to pick a track for me from your early career as an artist, maybe from those early New York days.
So, Pursuit of Happiness by Kid Cudi, MGMT, and Steve Aoki, that mix, that extended mix. But the
Yeah.
reason I say that was a really big song in my life is because this is now when I'm starting to go house parties. And this big movie came out called Project X, which was
Oh, yeah.
my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. And that song was in the trailer, and it says a bit where they're like smashing a gnome full of ecstasy pills. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like, that's what I want, like my university experience to be like. I want to be on pills. That's it.
I'm curious to know if there's any music that you lean on in tough times. And because I have certain music, like I have mental health stuff with depression, and I'm in recovery for addiction, and music's been a big part of that in a way, because I tend to go to certain music to rest with, or if I wake up in the morning and my head's a bit skewered, I kind of put on certain music. And I wanted to ask what role music plays for you
Um,
in that way.
it's strange. I don't When I'm feeling real crazy, there'll be music I listen to. I think it would be more when I'm angry. I listen to music, not when I'm sad. When I'm sad, I don't want anything. Like even having earphones in makes me want to like rip them out. Like I can't do anything. I just have to just like almost lay horizontal. That's what I need to do. But music that kind of is a bit more cathartic for me. I would say, to be honest, but anything by really, really low stuff like is Elliott Smith. I used to love Elliott Smith. I used to love like as well, even like when we were discussing earlier, Lana actually is very good to listen to. I love her voice a lot, and I really love Norman fucking Rockwell. Best album for me.
Do you think it's better than Born to Die?
Yeah, I love Born to Die. Norman fucking Rockwell was also out on my birthday, so it's like a sign.
Ah,
Also, I think actually, weirdly, really good album to listen to when you kind of feel real weird is Avril Lavigne's first album, Let Go. She's got these like beautiful songs at the end called like Naked, and like really good songwriter. She's like kind of like, and also weirdly like Pink. Don't let me get me, shit like that. It's like kind of like this kind of like pop sadness. Do you see with me? I can't be melancholic for too long. You know,
hmm.
I have to get Even when I'm sad, it has to be hooky, like it has to be catchy.
Do you know what? You're the third person in this series alone to mention Avril.
Mm.
Like Chloe Kaye mentioned her, and who else mentioned her? Was Hannah Lang. Like she comes up for the girls and the boys. Like it's quite mad the impact she's had on people. It's massive.
She's a huge songwriter, like amazing. Oh wait, you know who I forgot to say who was a big one for me actually, which I'm really being stupid that I missed out on, is the XX. Their first album for me is like really something I can listen to like if I'm feeling. It's very, very cathartic. I love the XX. I also when they were on tour with Florence and the Machine when I was very young, I was still in Bournemouth, I was working in a charity shop. Florence and the Machine came into the charity shop. I was like, yo, you're Florence, yay. And she was like, oh, like I gave her like a present. I was like, have this from a charity shop, which is kind of messy. I shouldn't have done that. I gave her like this like Victorian cloak. And she let me and my friend come in to the show and the after party, like the VIP after party.
That's so
And
nice.
I met the XX and they stuck X's all over me. I remember I had these like black X's all over me.
Oh, that XX album. I mean, that was one of those albums that just like kind of smashed boundaries. Like so many different types of people loved that album.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you listened to the Romy episode, but it was really funny because she was talking about it and she was like, yeah, we just kind of made it like, didn't think anybody would listen to it. It
No, it's
was like,
so
what the
good. I
fuck?
also really like that song Romy did herself. You don't have to be so sad.
Yeah, you don't have to be so strong. I think
Yeah,
she
so
did that
strong.
with Fred again.
Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, that I don't know if you got into the Romy album, but I never shut up about it last year. It was like it's just
I didn't listen to the whole thing. I need to.
it's so good because it has a narrative and it's a story kind of about, falling in love with her wife, and it's beautiful and it's like proper pop trance for the now.
Yeah, I need to
It's
listen to
so
it.
it's such a banger. I love it. I love Lana too. My favorite Lana song at the moment is Get Free.
Mm.
Again, kind of revisited that. I think it's so beautiful. I love the lyrics, and she talks about Amy and Whitney, and like it's so
You
nice.
know what's crazy? This isn't like funny. I don't know why I'm laughing, but you know what's it's not funny, but it's beautiful. I edited my grandma's funeral video to Venice Bitch. And it was actually so beautiful. I took the lyrics out, obviously, because I was like I just made it an instrumental because I didn't want my like granddad to hear "I'm your little Venice bitch" or "I'm your Venice bitch" or whatever. But the song is so beautiful. It's got such an emotional build. The end bit.
But it'd been such a banger if like someone's watching the video and they know the song and they start singing the lyrics. It would be
I
like,
was, but it was like
I mean,
I edited it to like all this kind of like 40s, well, not 40s, like 50s and 60s footage of my grandma, which worked because it was actually
oh,
good. Lana was in a dark moment.
you said you don't stay in melancholy for very long. Lucky you. God, that's so nice. Where do you think that comes from?
Alcohol.
Yeah.
I can just drink.
Is that what gets you out of it? Does it cheer you up?
Yeah, probably not a healthy recommendation, but yeah, that's
I definitely have got stuck. I've learned not to get so stuck in it these days, but I definitely spent like a long period of my life in melancholy.
mm.
It's kind of nice if you can visit it, but not like, rent.
I mean,
It's like you can just pop in for the day.
yeah, I mean, now I don't really get it like that, but there was a time where all I would do in my ex's house is sleep for like the whole day and then wake up for 2 hours and go back to bed at night. So I guess that was kind of melancholy in a way.
It's not great.
No, I really was lost between a certain few years. Just before COVID, I really was with the worst person, had the worst
Hmm.
ex. So yeah, probably that.
I hope they were good for a while. The ex.
Let's imagine that. We'll probably revisit at some point, and I'll see some goodness in it.
I wanted to draw a little parallel between that Steve Aoki track you mentioned because he makes me think about this period of music like Ed Banger and stuff.
Mm,
And then that makes me think about Uffy and that makes me think about Charlie XCX.
yeah, I love Afi. She actually really liked
Yeah,
my song "Girlfriend." She once reached out and said that. I think she's really cool.
that's massive.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a big thing for me because I love her on that Justice song, which I believe it's her that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very that time. It's very also the I love the synths in it. I love a synth that really you can feel through your whole body. It's kind of what I did with my track Red Eye on this album. It's like I wanted a track which was so overwhelmingly like a build. I've
Mm.
never had that. So that song has also means so much to me in terms of just like having like when I hate using the word happy because I think it's so overused because true happiness is actually the kind of like hard to feel. I think like just crazy when you just feel so good in all parts of your body and brain. And that song makes me feel like that for real.
Do you think happiness is the best feeling?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I quite like peace as well. And I kind of realized a lot of my anxiety might have been a bit of an addiction to relief. It was like kind of wanting to feel the relief of something no longer being anxiety worthy, like letting go of something. I was like, I think I'm just fucked up and I'm a bit like into relief, but I do like happiness. I like peace of mind as well.
I know what
Like,
you mean. Relief feels good. Like, you know, when pain ebbs, it
yeah, or
goes.
like, when you lose something and then you find it, like you lose your passport and then you find it, like that's a really good feeling.
When you like tap and then your heart goes, like your heart stops and then you find the thing you're looking for. That feels good.
I'm really familiar with that because when I am like, one of my depression symptoms is like my memory goes, and this kind of I've learned to make friends with it because it's a sign for me to slow down. And last week I left my laptop in Spain on the way to 2 more gigs, and then left my wallet at the gym, and I lost my keys in the street. And
Jesus.
within the space of about yeah, I know, within the space of about 3 days, and it all came back to me, which was just like the most overwhelming relief. But
Manifestation.
it was the reliefifestation of it all. But yeah, I don't know. Is there like music that you're really loving right now? It can also be your own music. I want you to kind of
Yeah, I
maybe.
love Baby Morocco.
Oh, there you go.
No, I love this group in the US. These two girls. They're called Magna Carta, Crrrta. They just got this song called Filthy come out. They got a song
I
called
really like it.
yeah, so American Girls. They are so sick. I genuinely think they are like their visuals are great. Like I met them in New York when I was there, and they're just so amazing. I love them. They're so talented. I just fuck with their energy, and they're really with their like characters in that. Like I guess they always do this thing in their videos where their hair's like going all over their face and they're like dancing crazy, and I just appreciate it. Like I just love like that kind of messy girl aesthetic, you know what I mean? But it's also so good. Like I'm turning up to that shit in the gym, crazy.
Well,
Like,
it's like when they do that. Like I watched the video. It's like glamorous chaos or
oh yeah,
something.
they glamour and chaos for real.
They're very that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate. That video is really nice as well. It's got this really kind of almost like sepia,
Mm.
like
Oh, the
aged
American,
feel
yeah, it's
to it.
so good. But
It's really nice.
they've got this song called Ferrari, and it's like so addictive because it's literally I don't know which one is doing the vocals, but one of the girls is going Ferrari, like Ferrari, and it's so good. And it's like a repeat, it's so
Like
yeah, it gets in
with
your head.
vocal fry.
Yeah, I think genuinely, I really want them to come and do the show with me in Spain that I'm doing. But I really think they're going to go crazy. Honestly, I think they've already kind of gone crazy, but I think they're going to go even crazier. I really love them. There's a lot of music that I like. I also, I have a label that I run called Fat Boy, and my friend Aikida is on it, and she makes a lot of like kind of funky house, bassliney stuff, like kind of referencing like Miss Brat and that kind of like 2010 era of like kind of girly bassline, like Sadie Amma. I think Charlotte Amma's younger sister. I love Charlotte Amma's voice, but kind of that world, which I think is really cool. I love the fun. I like how funky house can sound a bit spooky, but like almost pretty at the same time.
Yeah, I can hear that early naughtiness in your music as well. Like there's definitely moments of that somehow in the threads of your music. It's very I can hear
I
it.
said as well recently, I was like, it's not that I'm trying to like emulate any kind of era because I'm not. Like, I just think there's like music from that time that didn't, like when you like beat a horse or like beat something out. So you get all of the dust out. There's not all of it out yet. There's so much good like music and melodies from that time that I feel like can be like pushed, we can go crazier on, or like we can like take and utilize. I don't care about emulating certain eras. Like I don't care about that. I just don't really see time as like a before and future thing. I think it's all just happening at once. So I'll take from wherever.
What would you like to plug?
Baby Morocco's debut album, Amor. This year I would say it's contender for album of the year. Listen, even if you hate the Baby Morocco thing, listen to the album because you might like the Baby Morocco thing.
You might like it.
You might like it.
This has been so nice, Clayton.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. It's been a nice conversation about music.
It's been lovely. I look forward to meeting you in person. I'm sure we're going to bump into each other somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too.
You've been listening to Queerly Beloved with me, Cormac. Since you've listened right to the end, I wanted to give you a heads up that for each series of Queerly Beloved, I want to start highlighting the work of a queer charity or organisation worth supporting. For Season 2, I've chosen notaphase.org, a charity committed to supporting and uplifting the lives of trans adults through community and joy. You can find a link to Not a Phase at the link in the episode description, as well as playlists for all the music mentioned in today's episode and every episode. While you're there, please do hit subscribe so you don't miss out on my conversations with more talented people. A big thanks to Michael Lane, my producer, to my manager, Melissa Taylor at Tailored Communication, and of course to Amazon Music for their support, and to you, the listener. Until next time, take care of yourself. All the best. Bye.